So now we begin reading on page 167. And let me get this chair fixed. Ugh. That way we can do the stuff over there. Champ, slow down. Oh, well, let me back up. They asked the question, how are we going to save him? It's about Sly. We don't know where he is or how to go about rescuing him. And considering the fact that they know we have our superpowers back, that even removes the element of surprise. And if they're followers, what are we going to do? Champ, slow down, says Marie. We'll figure out a way. Let's just take one step at a time. Listen to your wife, Champ. She's right. We'll figure out a way, says Bailey consolingly. If there's anybody who can figure this out, it's you, son. You're one of the smartest people I know. Even with the support of his wife and the flowery words of Bailey, do little to instill in him confidence. Marie is first to stand as she is joined by Bailey and Loiso. The African man begins to pull Champ and the others close to him like a football huddle and takes a deep, measured breath. His eyes met Champ as he says instinctively, A wise man I once knew in Ghana said to me about dealing with problems. He said, if you get hold of the head of the serpent, the rest of it is a mere rope. Loiso's small smile and eye contact lasts only for a moment to see if Champ understood the meaning. He didn't. He should have not been surprised, as he told himself. Champ never really understood his proverbs. His mind always seemed to be in an analyzation mode, and he would easily miss the point. He was happy this wasn't true of Marie and the others, since this would do a great damage to his reputation as a village storyteller. He begins to explain mildly. What this means, my good friend, is simply this. When you deal with a problem head on, the rest is no problem. Champ, no problem at all. The snake is no longer the dangerous viper that it once was, but merely a moving rope that can do you no harm. Loiso moves closer and says, above a whisper, I am here to help you. Do just that, my friend. I have been instructed to bring you all with me to a man who has all the necessary information you will need to save your brother. He will also assist you in the rescue operation. Who is this man? Says Marie. You will know when I know. But first, we need to form a plan of getting you off this boat without your enemies being aware of this. It's going to be dark soon, and that will help a bit. But tonight, it's especially going to be difficult for us because of the full moons. Any ideas? 10 minutes pass with no one speaking or coming up with any ideas. Finally, silence is broken as Cassio enters the room from outside. Bailey looks over to Champ and Marie and says, You need to tell your son what's going on. He needs to know. Cassio looks over to his mom and dad and gives them a confused look and says, I need to know what, Grandma? After thoughtful exchanges that come from the faces of both Marie and Bailey, Champ nods in agreement. As both sit down at the table, Champ begins to slowly bring Cassio up to date regarding their situation and dilemma. 10 minutes passes as Cassio joins the others in silence as they all continue to think of solutions to their problems. Champ suddenly stands up and says, I got it. I just might know of a way we can pull this off. It's frequently called misdirection. What comes to mind is something that Sly told me about what he read in the Bible about a king who was in this same kind of situation. The Bible? What could that possibly be? Asked Bailey, bewildered. Sly told me of a time when the Israelites' King Saul was trying to kill David one night. He sent out his men to ambush him outside his house. David came to find out about this plan too late. He was trapped inside the house with his wife, Michal, Saul's daughter. He needed to escape because they had planned to kill him once he went to bed. What he did was kind of ingenious. He took this statue of his wife, Teraphim idol, and wrapped its head with goat hair and placed it by the window. He hoped that from the outside it would look like David was sitting on the divan and enjoying the night air. The assassins would see this silhouette of David's head and it never moved while David escaped from the house to the back door. And there you see the picture of what he's talking about there. There's the shadow where the teraphim and the goat hair is. There's those men laughing it up, getting ready to kill David at night when he slept. Marie smiles, snaps her fingers, and says, "That's perfect. We could all make our own dummies out of the clean clothes Loyiso just brought to us and then place them by the windows with the shades pulled. The light inside would cause a silhouette of us in the same manner as David, and then we can escape." Chan becomes somber and says, "But we still have a problem. Even if we do manage to get off the boat, they're going to expect this boat to move. They're going to expect us to head back home. So who's going to drive the boat?" Everyone looks at each other and says nothing, realizing that Champ made a valid point. Finally, Cassio speaks up and says, "I'll drive the boat, Dad. I'm the perfect choice. You've let me drive the boat many times in the past, and I know the river. I can do it, Dad. I really can." "I don't know if I like that idea," says Marie. "It's okay, Mom. I can do it. I've even driven the boat home at night when you were sleepy before." Ask Dad. Champ nods and says he has, Marie. "I guess I should have told you, but I didn't want to upset you. After all, your little boy is grown up. He's not so little anymore." Marie gives him a stern look as she says barely audibly, "Fine, we'll talk about this later," says Marie, still slightly peeved. Champ doesn't say a word as Cassio approaches his mom and says, "Don't worry, Mom, I can do it. Besides, if they've been watching us in the past, they won't suspect a thing. I've been driving this boat a lot for the last 2 months anyway. I promise, Mom. I'll drive it nice and slow home and give you plenty of time to find Uncle Sly. And when I get home, I'll sneak off to the secret place and hide and wait for you to return." "Secret place?" asks Bailey. Marie understands and completely says, "I'm not sure if I like this at all. I'm not sure if I want you to drive this boat home by yourself," replies Marie to her son, voicing her concern, but not disagreeing with the decision, especially when someone may be following us. I think it might be too dangerous for him to go alone, Champ. You and Mom go and save Sly. I'll stay with Cassio and make sure he gets home safely, and we'll go to the secret place together. When you return, you'll know where we are. Loiuso starts to shake his head as he says, "No, Murray, I'm sorry. That will not do. They need you. Without you and your power of invisibility, Champ and Bailey will be put at greater risk, and the mission will likely fail and have disastrous results. Without you, they would never be able to exit this boat without the possibility of being seen. Your not coming could condemn your husband and mother." Marie smiles at Loiuso and says, "You're a good friend, and I respect what you're saying. But this is my son we're talking about, and, Mom, please, I can do it. I think Loiuso is right. We don't want to risk Dad and Grandma and Uncle Sly because you still think of me as a kid. I'm 14. That makes me almost full grown," Cassio says confidently. Marie looks over to Champ to see his facial thinking and then turns back to Cassio and says, "Are you sure, son? We both know you're very responsible for a boy your age, but this is very serious stuff." "Yes, Mom. I know I can do it. I want to do it. I don't want to hear and see Uncle Sly had to die because you think I'm too young to drive a boat and then hide in the secret place until you get home. Let me do it. You can trust me. I won't let you and Father down, okay? You do trust me, don't you?" "Of course we trust you," says Marie reassuringly in her usual motherly way. Marie's eyes look long and hard on Cassio, pleading with unblinking eyes as she exhales and nods that she does. She feels her shoulders drop, fearing the dangers ahead and realizing what a wonderful, unselfish son she has. She's very proud of him and holds back the urge to tell him right now. Champ embraces his son and says, "Be careful, son. Don't forget the secret place." "I won't let you down, Father, and I won't let you down either, Mom," Cassio concludes with a smile and a hug from his mother. "So what's your plan?" asks Champ as he turns his attention to Loiuso. Loiuso takes a deep breath and says very slowly and carefully as he measures each word, "The plan is simple. I will return to the boat as all of you will wave goodbye to me, making sure you are in clear view of all who would be watching. You will turn the boat around, heading back up the river, heading home, and then go inside. Once inside, you will place the dummies in front of the windows, so the silhouette will show you sitting at the table. Afterwards, Cassio will put the ship on autopilot and go inside too, and then turn the lights down and move the dummies around periodically as you make your escape. You will have to find a way to escape unseen and swim to shore. Then you must follow the shoreline back up the river where I will find you. Then we will all go to the meeting place of your benefactor." Loiuso stands up, looks outside, and sees the sun is almost completely down and darkness is becoming stronger and encroaching on the light. Loiuso kisses both Marie and Champ on the face and thanks them as he exits the boat. He begins quickly to build their own version of themselves and prepare to place them in the designated places. So how are we going to pull this off, Champ?" asks Bailey. I'm afraid that if they are watching the boat and it's not as dark as we need it to be, I think we may be seen. Those moons are pretty bright tonight. Champ strokes his beard and begins to rub his hands together as he says slowly, I thought about that, Mom. This is my plan. You will freeze time for all of us, and with those 5 seconds, we will all make our move to the edge of the boat and lie down. Then this will make us invisible during that transfer time. Once the time elapses, Marie can make us all invisible. Remember, it's imperative that we are all be touching each other during the time freeze, invisibility, and my ability to create a force field to control the water. Champ, how are we going to get across the river? I'm not that strong of a swimmer, replies Bailey. You won't have to, Mom, reassured Champ. I have that figured out too, Mom. I will create a force field platform bubble that we can all stand on inside when we make it to shore and up the river until we are out of sight from our boat. Then I will control the water to gently push us to the shore like a small silent motorboat. I'll guide us to the spot up the river where we will not be seen. Murray, it's imperative that you keep us invisible during your 5-minute power matrix. Assuming my power is still the same as it was before I gave it up and can be sustained for that long, making us all invisible, cautious Murray. Exactly, says Champ. That's why we have Mom, too, with her time freezing as a backup. If you feel your power matrix powering down or slipping, then Mom can give us another 5 seconds to either get to the shore or to slowly sink in the river, says Murray as a tease. Bailey gives her daughter a look and says, somehow, I don't think that'll come to that. Nor do I, Mom. But it's important to plan ahead for the unforeseen. I will have to concentrate on using the force field and harnessing my water powers. So try to relax and stay focused on your own task. Marie looks at her mother and says, Champ, are you sure this will work? Champ smiles with nervous confidence and says, yes, I think it will. You see, I've been practicing with my powers, and they seem to be exactly the same before I gave them up. I created a force field bubble and encased some water and moved it around in the water itself very successfully. I know with all this inside, it's going to be more difficult, but I think I can do it. And this concludes this episode because we'll find out exactly how they escape and if the system works while Cassio drives the boat. So let's stay tuned for next week. Next time. This is from my brother. This is Michael Brown.